You're welcome back to Breakfast Central. Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde has gone public with a startling claim that Minister of the FCT and former Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike told President Bola Tinubu he would hold the PDP for him ahead of the 2027 elections. Speaking during a media chat in Ibadan on Tuesday, Governor Makinde recounted a meeting he attended alongside President Tinubu, Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, and others. He alleged that Wike offered to hold the PDP for Tinubu ahead of the 2027 elections, a pledge the governor said came unsolicited by the president. Makinde stressed that Wike is free to support Tinubu. He himself has not chosen to do so and believes all Nigerians should be allowed to make independent political choices.
And I'm saying this, in an open chat. The president's chief of staff was also in that meeting, and a few others. And Wike said to the president that, well, sir, I will hold PDP for you, against 2027. I was in shock. So we got up, we got to the veranda. I said, Wike, did we agree to this? I don't like talking about people, and I will not talk about people or talk about events. But I'll talk about the real issue. The real issue is that Wike would like to support the president for 2027. That's fine. It is within his right to do that. But also some of us that want to, ensure that democracy survives in Nigeria. We don't drift into a one-party state, and we want to ensure that PDP survives. It should also allow us to do our own thing. That is just the issue between me and Wike. And I confided in a mutual friend of us after that meeting. And I kept thinking, okay, the president did not ask him, do this for me. He was the one that volunteered that I will do that. So when I was telling our mutual friend, I said, look, maybe he was talking about an errand that the president never sent him. So let's watch, let's engage him. Let's see if he will back off. But he never did. So after he didn't back off, I said, well, now it's time to confront him. Because I told him from that day that I will never be a part of this. And that is why I will not be supporting the president for 2027. Wike can support him, he's within his right, but also it is within my own right to decide within the political space who I will support or what I will do in 2027.
Well, that statement has generated mixed reactions from various quarters. Joining us for this discussion is political analyst, one who's very conversant with the southwestern politics as well. We do have Mr. Jide Ojo who joins us this morning. Welcome, and thank you so much for being here.
It's my pleasure. Compliments of the season.
Thank you. At a split second, I had to take a look at your cap again to be sure what logo was on it, but it's fine, so that we can proceed.
So we know the line of questioning to toe.
Anyway.
No, I'm not participating.
Okay, that's fine.
At all.
All right, the FCT Minister, Nyesom Wike, and of course, the governor you just saw there, Governor Makinde, were part of the very popular and infamous G5 governors who refused to back former Vice President Atiku Abubakar in 2023. But now it seems that the alliance indeed has tumbled. But what do you make of the statement that he just said, especially in that video where the PDP was now giving room for President Bola Tinubu without the notice for the G5, but of course one man decided to take the lead?
Well, I've been reviewing that situation since yesterday. afternoon when that news came out. And what I made of it is the chicken is coming home to roost as per what are the immediate causes of the current imbroglio within the PDP fold. As I said on another media channel yesterday night, for every problem there is an immediate and remote causes. We know that PDP had been in throes of pain, in pangs of pain since 2015 when it lost the presidency. But in the immediate period since 2023, it will seem like that challenge has exacerbated for PDP. And now, Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo State was just giving perspective to what you and I may not know as being the immediate cause of the current crisis. And I find it proud to now that part of the negotiation, terms of negotiation between the fielding parties in PDP was that Nyesom Wike allegedly said PDP should not field a presidential candidate in 2027, and that so that President Bola Tinubu will have a leeway. And the other camp said, no, it's within our right to field the presidential candidate. Why would you say a party with a legacy party like PDP should not field the presidential candidate? And to all intents and purposes, rumor mill has had it that Seyi Makinde of Oyo State had presidential ambition, that he would want to contest in 2027. Whether he wins or not is secondary. The popular saying is that if you don't buy a ticket, you cannot win a lottery. If you don't throw a dice, you will never throw six. So he is ready to take chances, whether he wins or not in 2027. And that's why he wants to remain within the PDP, salvage the situation. Larry Olayinka's statement that was published on X yesterday night, where he said Seyi Makinde is unreliable, he doesn't have loyalty to any fidelity to any cause. Then he traced his political history, how he moved from PDP in 2007 to ANPP, and then in 2015 how he moved from PDP to SDP to contest his first gubernatorial election before he now eventually won in 2019. But it's within his right to join any political association or party of his choice. And don't also forget, one thing many of us may not be privy to is that perhaps Seyi Makinde is also pained that for all the work he did for President Bola Tinubu in 2023, he possibly didn't get commensurate compensation. Because we know that the reason why Nyesom Wike is sitting as FCT minister today was because for the very first time, he was able to win Rivers State for the opposition, which was the APC, even though 2 weeks after he delivered the governorship and other position to PDP. And in Oyo State, Seyi Makinde did say he also delivered the Oyo State to President Bola Tinubu. He won massively across the 33 local government. And you may ask yourself, what compensation did Seyi Makinde get for supporting President Tinubu in 2023? The only minister from Oyo State, Bayo Adelabu, Minister of Power, was at that time in Accord Party. He was in Accord Party as at 2023. He contested the governorship election under Accord Party. And then President Tinubu decided to give him the only ministerial slot for your state. And you ask yourself, if Seyi Makinde worked for President Tinubu, why was he not allowed to nominate the ministerial candidate for your state? That is the underlying reason why he said, I will not work for this president in 2027. I would rather go alone. And so that he may not have voiced that yesterday, but I think that may have been part of the reason why he said, no, I'm not going to work for this president in 2027. And it is within my rights to so do.
So,
Again, I mean, it's a bit of a concerning situation how things have turned out. The Wike is holding PDP for Tinubu, you know. What does this say about the APC's 2027 strategy?
What does it say there about what?
APC's 2027 strategy.
Of course, it's obvious, even to the blind, my sister, it's obvious to the blind that Wike is holding PDP for Tinubu. Why did I say so? You know, ordinarily, initially, many of us thought it was Atiku Abubakar, Tambuwa, Amechi, and the rest that were the problem of PDP. And that if only they can lead the party, there will be peace. But after the exit of Tambuwa and Atiku and several other chieftains of PDP, about March, April this year, when they joined ADC, why is it that that problem is still persisting? And obviously, Wike is living true to his commitment to Asiwaju Tinubu. Look at the local government election that were held October this year in Rivers State. 20 out of the 23 local governments were won by APC. Only 3 were won by PDP, including Obiakpo, where Wike comes from. All his loyalists in PDP have crossed over to APC, leaving only 2 House of Reps members out of about 13. Still, Chinda is just the minority leader, which is possibly why he could not defect. That may be, that may not be the entire reason why he has not defected. But all the foot soldiers of Wike had already defected, or most of his foot soldiers have already defected to APC. But why has he not joined them? Even his own governor has joined APC. He wants to ensure that he stays in PDP to ensure that that party is fraught with litigation to the point that if he doesn't get any advantage, no other group will get advantage in that party. Look at what has happened yesterday. The Turaki team that thought INEC would give them recognition got the shock of their life yesterday when INEC Secretary Dr. Rose Oriaro Anthony wrote them yesterday that because of litigation, we cannot recognize you or give validity to what you did in Ibadan. And who knows, this case is on appeal to the Court of Appeal. We don't know when Court of Appeal will rule. We don't know if any of the fielding parties will still go to Supreme Court. Meanwhile, by February 2026, INEC will give out notice of election for 2027. So while litigation is going on, a PDP will continue to empty. The chieftains of PDP will continue to live in droves. Look at Muftuan. Just this week, was it this week that news came out that Muftuan, governor of Plateau State, has also defected. Taraba has defected. Only 4 governors are now left in PDP. The Safra governor, Oyo governor, Akomapa governor, and Bauchi governor. Out of 12 that they had in 2023, that is disastrous. So for me, the implication is very great. There is no gainsaying the fact that Wike is playing the spoiler's role. It's either my way or highway. If you will not listen to me not to field the presidential candidate in 2027, I will make sure that whoever emerges as presidential candidate does not have validity. So it's achieving the commitment he made to the president. Whether the president extracted that commitment from him or not, as Seyi Makinde said yesterday, that to the best of his knowledge, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu did not ask him or commit him to make that vow. But he is playing that role effectively, perhaps because he wants to retain his position as the governor of FCT, even though he's a minister. But we know a minister in FCT is more or less a governor of a state, because even in the eye of the Supreme Court, FCT is deemed to be a state. given the Supreme Court decision of 2023 presidential election.
Now, I haven't talked about the PDP. I mean, the PDP is a legacy party. They held sway for 16 years, and to imagine the 2027 elections without the PDP fielding a presidential candidate would be disastrous. And even those who are supporters of the APC have said, you know, it's not really good for our democracy, what's happening. So where's the hope of the PDP? Is it in the courts where they will finally decide which faction they recognize? And is there still room for the PDP to fix its house ahead of 2027? Or is it a tall order?
My brother, from my own vantage position as an analyst, as somebody who has worked with political parties over 2 decades, the solution to PDP crisis is not in any court, not even in Supreme Court. Look at what has happened with Labour Party. Supreme Court has made a decision. But the two factions in Labour Party are still interpreting Supreme Court decision one way or the other. The Abure faction is saying that Supreme Court decision is to their advantage. The Alex Otti faction, which also have Nadi Usman, is also interpreting that the Supreme Court decision is to their advantage. Even though in the recent past, INEC seems to have aligned with Abure camp, that is the validly National Working Committee. So what am I saying? Even if Supreme Court makes a decision, it's still better for them to have reached time and resolve this crisis in a matured manner. INEC has done its own bit. I appreciate the new INEC chairman, Professor Joash Ojo, for calling the two warring factions together. He had about 3 hours meeting with them, had them out, and made proposal. But the two of them are digging deep. They are saying it's either their way or highway. INEC has a directorate of EADR, we call it Electoral Alternative Dispute Resolution, which the party will take advantage of, even outside of the meeting of the commission. But will they subject themselves to that arbitration or mediation? The answer is in the wings. So if they put their hope in the Supreme Court or in any of the courts, time may run against them, which is why many of their elected members are bailing out. Look at Governor Ademola Adeleke. He would rather stay in PDP, but he was being mindful of the validity of his nomination. Because obviously now, from the INEC communication yesterday, that is not recognizing the Turaki faction, it then means that the candidate of PDP in Osun State, which has emerged through the Kabiru Turaki-led National Working Committee, that nomination is invalid in the eye of the law. Because if INEC has come out after the party primaries to say, we are not recognizing your faction, neither are we recognizing the Wike faction, it then means that whoever is running under PDP in Osun State is just wasting its resources. Because unless by the time the election is held, the Supreme Court gave validity to his own nomination, that is when he will be home and dry. And does he even have a chance of winning that election in Osun State? The answer is no. The best chance they had to retain Osun State was to have Governor Ademola Adeleke as their candidate. And the governor had to bail out barely a few hours to the commencement of that primary because he wasn't sure whether the Kabiru Turaki-led National Working Committee is right in the eye of the law. And the answer has come out yesterday to say no, neither of the two factions is recognized. It then means that, technically speaking, PDP does not have a candidate in Osun State. And that will have affected Governor Ademola Adeleke if he has stayed put in that party. And that's what will happen to even the Zamfara State governor. Because as he waits, if that issue does not get resolved, and he is a first-time governor, he will be thinking, will this issue be resolved in good time for my nomination to be valid? If the answer is no, what he will do in the first quarter of next year will be to defect, maybe to defect to ADC if he doesn't want to go to APC or go to any other party. And that is what has also haunted Governor Caleb Mutfwang of Plateau State out of PDP, because he's also a first-time governor. The only people who are safe, who may stay put till the end of this show, is Governor Seyi Makinde and Governor Bala Mohammed, because they are both second-time governor. Even that of Adamawa too is also a second-time governor. So it may not affect the election bid, except for the fact that they may also want to come to the Senate. We know how the governors behave, that they have turned the Senate rest home, where they can go and cool off after 8 years of government or as a governor. So this whole issue will continue to haunt PDP. The best way would be to resolve the issue amicably through an arbitration or mediation or any other alternative dispute resolution mechanism, because that is faster, that is cheaper, and that will fashion a win-win solution to both factions.
Okay. All right, just to wrap things up, because we need to move to the next conversation. My last question would be, yesterday during the media chat, he did talk about the one-party state. But let's just take a look at the video concerning the one-party state, especially that which we're seeing now. You've touched on seeing governors flee, because it's actually looking like it's a race on who would get into APC first.
The people that negotiated Nigeria, they have two major things that was in there, in that negotiation. First, federalism. That's why they called us Federal Republic of Nigeria. Two, multi-party democracy. That is why, upon independence, you have an action group here, you have Northern People's Congress, you have Northern NEPU, you have NEPU, you have NCNC. You understand? At independence, it was multi-party democracy. So now you're moving the country towards, a one-party state. It won't work. If you move the country towards a one-party state, what happens the day you require a multi-party or bipartisan approach to issues? Who are you going to call? The day you move the country towards a one-party state, you remember what happened with the Arab Spring. Once people don't have leadership, they will find leaders, by all means. So we better get our acts together as political leaders in this country.
All right, in 1 minute, what's your reaction to that statement made by the governor?
Well, I forgive my governor, Seyi Makinde, for thinking that when you say one-party state, it means only one political party existing. No, he's a chemical engineer. I think he's a chemical engineer, or he's an engineer. So I will pardon him for thinking that Nigeria will one day wake up to be just one party. No, we will continue to have be a de jure multi-party state, but a de facto one-party state. As I've said on several media channels, this is not new. In US, people think in US there are only two political parties. I've been to US to observe election. There are over 100 political parties operating in US, but you only hear of Republican and the Democratic Party. In UK, you always hear of Conservative and the Labour Party, but there are over 8 political parties in United Kingdom. In Ghana here, there are about 12 political parties operating in Ghana, but power has been oscillating between the MPP and NDC since 1992. Even South Africa, if you ask somebody who is not familiar with the South African story, which political party exists in South Africa, you are likely to hear him say it's ANC, ANC, the party of Mandiba. But that is not true. There are over multiple parties and Democratic Alliance, economic operators and them. So in Nigeria, there will never be a time that you will have only one party. But there will be a dominant one party or two party state. This has happened under PDP, the 16 years of PDP, when the slogan there was PDP and others. Now it is APC and others. As today, there are 8 political parties that have representation in the House or in the National Assembly. There are 6 political parties that have representation among the governors. So what are we talking about? That time will never come. In fact, as I'm speaking with you, maybe before the end of the year, INEC will still license about 8 new political associations, give them license to operate as political parties. We currently have 19 political parties. And the reason why these 19 political parties are still existing today is because they have at least one councillorship position or legislative assembly. So that will continue to be the situation. But I understand where it's coming from.
All right.
Because the issue now is that there is no bipartisanship that is needed in National Assembly.
All right.
There's no need to lobby. There is no need to cut the support of any, because they have 2/3 majority to do whatever they like, including passing body.
All right. Thank you very much, sir, for your thoughts and sharing them so clearly with us this morning on Breakfast Central. We of course look forward to speaking with you again, and once again, compliments of the season.